to the show. Week number 2, the high school football season gets underway this Friday night. The Red Devils on the road for the first time. They'll go to New Pal. We'll have that game for you right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports. The Red Devils lost a tough one last week. There's no doubt about it. I don't think there's anybody more disappointed than Coach Tawfeek, who joins us again this week on the program. And Coach, always go back to the previous week, talk a little bit about the game itself. You get a 16-0 lead at halftime, and you're really not playing as well as you'd hope maybe in the first half, but your defense is playing well, and got a nice punt return from Bubba to score a touchdown. You got the ball in the end zone, and then the second half just wasn't the way you'd hoped it had gone in the second half. But the one thing you told me last week, which really came to fruition, is we still got to play both halves of football. If we don't, we're going to find ourselves in a dogfight, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And again, I tip my hat to Connorsville and their coaches and their players. Those kids came out here and played as hard as they can possibly play. And I think it really showed at the end of the game with the way that they celebrated. This was their state championship game.
Yeah.
I really believe in my heart that Connorsville could not win another game the rest of the season. They would probably be satisfied.
Sure.
Because this was a big win for them. And so those kids fought with every inch, they gave it all they had.
Yeah.
We were knocking their kids out of the ball game. They're out a couple plays and right back in. And, I tip my hat to those guys. But at the end of the day, they didn't beat us. We lost.
Yeah.
We were the better team. I still believe that. I still stand by that. I know there was a lot of comments on social media about people saying that I kind of was down talking them or anything, and I don't see that. I just really told the truth. They didn't have the athletes we had, and if we would have played the type of football that I know we're capable of playing, it wouldn't even have been a close game.
Yeah.
But we came out. Offensively, never got it going at all.
Yeah.
The entire game, 63 offensive plays, only 7 points. I attribute that to just having a lot of inexperienced kids at the skill positions.
Yeah.
Every single one of our players at the skill position are first-year starters and didn't play any meaningful varsity minutes last night. The crowd was electric. The students section was dynamic, and that type of pressure on kids is tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough in those situations, and it's almost, it reminded me of a situation where you try too hard.
Yeah.
You're trying too hard to do good, and you end up shooting yourself in the foot. You get to thinking about it too much instead of just going out there and relaxing and playing the game. And I really think that's what happened. And then when our offense wasn't able to really score any points, you kind of saw the wind going out of the team. And our film girls missed the last few plays, so we didn't actually get to watch those as a staff. But I went on to Radio Troy and watched the broadcast Sunday evening, and just to get an idea of what it looked like from the team perspective. And after our offense went 4 and out in overtime, didn't gain a yard, I saw our defense walk onto the field.
Okay.
And I knew just by looking at their body language and saw how they took the field that one play, that's all Connorsville needed.
Yeah.
And pretty much, I talked to the kids. I asked Colton Davis, how many times have you guys ever been in a dogfight since you've been playing here at Richmond? And he told me never.
Yeah.
They've always been in situations where they've either been beat up really bad or beat up on somebody else really bad. They've never really been in those situations where it's a toe-to-toe slugfest, heavyweight fight. They're giving us their best shot, we're giving them their best shot, and let the cards fall where they may.
Yeah.
And so a lack of experience in those situations, along with some, first game jitters, I think just kind of attributed to us melting, just unraveling in the second half and just second half meltdown.
Yeah.
So 22 unanswered points again. I tip my hat to Connorsville and their kids and their coaching staff. They did a phenomenal job. But I hope we draw them in sectionals.
Yeah, you may, and we'll find out that before you know it. But Let me go back and we're going to talk about, because I always like to look ahead, and then once you put that behind you, there's
Yeah.
not much you can do. We'll
Right.
talk about New Pal coming up in a couple of moments. I got to go back to something that you said, which is so true, and try to get people to understand this. If you don't have that experience playing under those lights on a Friday night,
Right.
I mean, and I'll give you one example. I talked to you after the game when you ran a play and Colton's coming out to block and Jones is coming around and he doesn't come to the football. The ball goes by, off the mark because he's supposed to come around.
Right.
Those are things, those little things you play. The people in the stands might look at it and go, "Oh, it's a bad pass." No, it was the play was run fine if he just completes
Right. Right.
completes the play, right?
And we went and looked on film. We're just not running that route correctly.
Yeah.
They never came back to the ball. Not
Yeah.
one time the entire night. And that's just something we look at as a coaching staff and say, how do we get better? And this is how we do it. And so that's one thing we've really been working on. We're putting cones up now. Get to this mark and then get to this mark.
Yeah.
And we're not really leaving it on the kid to run a good route. We're just going to rep it until it becomes muscle memory. And that's essentially what we have to do because, we got in those situations where we needed it and we just had kids who haven't been there before.
Yeah.
And I mean, people want me to work miracles overnight and, create this dynasty football program and I mean, literally a few months and it's just not possible.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't understand there was only 35 kids on the football team last year. Out of those 35, only 8 of the ones that we have on the team this year actually played.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
Now the team is up to 70 plus kids. We had 3 new kids come out last night, yesterday for practice. I'm constantly recruiting in the lunchroom.
Yeah.
My goal is to get us to at least 80 or above this year. Next year 105, the year after 150. I've set my goals. I'm working it hard, but it's like taking over a team with a bunch of first-year football players.
Yeah.
And even though we've got great talent, when we get into those situations where you really have to dig deep and use that experience that you've had in the past, we're just not there yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, literally out of the 6 offensive starters that we have at the skill position, 3 of them did not play last year at all.
Yeah.
Not a snap of football. Our quarterback hasn't played a meaningful snap of football since 7th grade.
Yeah.
Tremel Carpenter didn't play football. O'Shea Hendrickson didn't play football. Trayshawn Jones played a little JV. Wyatt Bird was a JV, and Jarrell Deloney played JV.
Yeah.
And then you look on defense, flip it over on defense. Jacob Jones played varsity. Bryce Brown played varsity. Caleb Ellis played varsity. And Bubba Sanders played varsity.
Yeah.
We've got 4 guys on offense. We've got 4 guys on defense that played varsity football last year. 7 new starters on each side of the ball.
Yeah.
That's
tough.
what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
That's the reality of the situation. And even still, our kids fought their tails off. Against Connorsville, they fought hard. They were emotional after the game. They really, really wanted it. I just felt terrible for the kids. That we would get in this situation and. I don't think it ever even should have been that close. We just took our foot off the gas.
By the way, I'm going to say this, and then any time that, and I've been around, it was my 33rd year of doing high school football, sports in some aspect. Now, I know you've been through this before. You're having to coach and teach at the same time on the field, on the fly, and that just can't work very well. Right? Because all that teaching is supposed to be done in practice the best that you can to get your team prepared, and then during the game everything's supposed to go into motion, but it's hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, you coach kids up and you teach them all week long, and then the bright lights turn on.
Yeah.
The huge crowd comes out. Everybody's cheering. Now you start feeling that pressure. Oh, we've got to make it on 3rd down here.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got to stop them on 3rd down.
Yeah.
It's 4th down. We've got to get them off the field. And that pressure can do 2 things. I think I said it in our post-game interview. Pressure busts pipes or it makes diamonds.
Yeah.
And we've got to get ourselves to that point where we live under that pressure. I'm just going to tell everybody right now, nobody is more critical of me and this football program than I am.
Yeah.
Nobody wants it worse than I do. I'm staying up all night on the weekends, game planning, scouting, doing everything that's necessary to really build this football program. I hit the ground running. I haven't stopped, and I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
And I know there's critics out there who, are looking from an outside-in perspective and really don't understand the full nature of what's going on here. But I still hold my head high. I keep my blinders on. I don't listen to what they say. And I just keep moving forward, and staying positive, because I know what my vision is. I know I can get us there. It's just a matter of time before it happens. I just hope that, they don't run me out of town before we get there.
They're not going to, guarantee it. Well, I'll tell you what, next game up is going to be a tough one. New Pal is coming up on Friday night. We'll talk about the Dragons when we come back right here at Radio Troy Digital Sports.
Best One Tire and Service has been committed to our partners since 1948. With more than 250 locations in 26 states, Best One puts over 1 million tires on the road every year. Superior tires, expert service, competitive prices. Best One Tire and Service, where the best costs less.
Hi, I'm Roger Clark with Best One of Richmond. Because Best One is one of Bridgestone's largest retailers, we offer exclusive Bridgestone savings. Visit us in Richmond to save on Bridgestone tires today.
Friday night, game 2 of the high school football season. You head on the road for the first time, and if your players thought that last week and the environment was great, now you go to New Pal, hostile environment, you know that. Great football tradition since Coach Ralph has been there.
Oh, yeah.
And they love football at New Pal. Talk about your first road game of the year.
Yeah, I think, traveling on the road, there's a little less pressure.
Yeah.
Than staying at home and playing in front of the home crowd, especially one that was as large as what it was Friday night. You told me, Jeremy Hill, our middle school athletic director, told me it was the largest crowd Richmond has had in quite some time.
Oh, I believe that, yeah.
And so there was a lot of people there, and that pressure of playing in front of your hometown can oftentimes bust pipes,
Yeah.
and it did. And so I think going to New Pal, there's going to be less pressure on the guys. It's game 2, and we understand what we're going into. It's going to be a packed house. It's going to be crazy. And we're playing a really, really, really good football team. They're ranked number 5 in 5A. So we've got a tall task at hand, but I believe that we have an opportunity to go in there and compete with that team if we play how I know that we can play.
Yeah.
We can compete and give ourselves a chance to win it. But if we play like we did Friday night, it won't be close.
Yeah. They generally have run the football very well, but they've had a very balanced attack. The Neely quarterback, the old Neely quarterback's was very, very good at running that offense. They got a different Neely, I understand, this time.
His little brother, I think.
Yeah, are they about the same? Do they try to be a 50-50 type football team?
I think they try to run it a little bit more. They may be 60-40, from what I saw on tape. And again, all we've got was their first game, their scrimmage from this year. So, year by year it changes a little bit according to the personnel that you have. But, just knowing Coach Ralph and his system, they want to run the football. He's a former offensive lineman. As an offensive lineman, you want to run the football. That it's just in your blood to do that. So we know they're going to come out, they're going to try to run the football. They have a quick passing game. Their offense is very similar to ours in what we do, so they're going to run some inside zone. They got a quarterback who's a little bit more athletic than ours, and so they're going to run him in some space, in some spots. They're going to throw the quick passing game. They're going to try to stretch you here and there. But for the most part, if they can just beat you by running the ball, I think that they'd be happy just beating you by running the ball. Their quarterback has really got some wheels and can move, and they've got 2 running backs that I saw on tape that look like bowling balls. So, we're going to have a long night, but again, You know, if we come out and play the game that I know we can play, we can give ourselves a chance in the end to win it.
And I'll say it again, these non-conference games, that's what they are.
Yeah.
Because in the end product, you want to win an NCC championship by
Sure.
the end, and then get yourself ready for that tournament.
Sure.
So that's
Yeah.
what it's really all about.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and that's the plan. Week by week, we're trying to get better each week, and we're going to continue that same approach, one day at a time, one game at a time, 1 week at a time, and you know, we'll go with that, and hope to get better this week and give New Pal everything we got.
You know, the only other suggestion I have is that maybe you can bring those thousands of fans out for every practice, turn the lights on, and make a game situation. I think they do that.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny. I tell the kids every day at practice. You know, you saw it at practice sometimes where they'll jump off sides because they're not being disciplined and watching the football. And we, you know, got into that situation Friday night. I couldn't even hear the quarterback's cadence.
No
So
kidding.
I'm sure that the wide receivers couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to be disciplined enough to have your eye on the football when we get into our snap count.
That's right.
Because when you play in an environment like we played in last Friday and what we're going to play in this Friday, you won't be able to hear anything
That's
on the
right.
field.
Yeah.
And so the communication has to be there by watching the ball and, you know, everybody just being on the same page.
And it's not that you guys, I know you get on them about it
Oh,
in practice.
oh,
so this is-
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so it's, players need to take that on.
Oh,
their
absolutely.
shoulders,
Yeah,
too.
you know, and again, it just comes back to, I think, inexperience.
Yeah.
Kids haven't been there before.
Yeah.
In front of the crowd, the bright lights on Friday nights, you know, the butterflies in your stomach, you know, the blood pressure goes up a little bit, the heart starts racing more. You know, we talked
Can't
about
breathe.
that. You can't breathe.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about that earlier last week, and it just kind of happened. But I know this week we've got some injuries, you know, and we've kind of been getting bit by the injury bug a little bit. Missed an offensive lineman last week.
Yeah.
This week we're going to be missing Bubba Sanders.
Uh-oh.
Bryce Brown may be out. So, yeah,
Other guys have to step up.
other guys have to definitely step up.
Okay. Coach, good luck this week. Good to
Thank
see you
you.
again.
Thank you.
Hey, Tawfeek joining us. We'll see you again next week right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.